How can you know if you're with the right partner? We all want that feeling of definite knowing, but honestly, most of the time, a relationship is a mixture of feelings. Sometimes we feel very clear, very obvious, very in love with them, and it feels easy. And other times, we are left wondering, is this the right person for me? In this video, I'm going to give you 9 signs that you are indeed with the right person. So let's get into it. Sign 1. You feel comfortable being yourself. This is the most important one. And you can only feel it. There's no rationality around this or thinking about it. You can just get in touch with that feeling of when I am with this person, I feel comfortable and I feel fully myself. Now, there are some things that you might have to do to foster that feeling, like being vulnerable, showing parts of yourself, having more difficult conversations, expressing all of your emotions and your needs. And that can be a bit of a risk. It can feel risky to do that. But when you're with the right person, you will feel safe enough to do so. And the surprising thing is that all the stuff that you feel worried about or insecure about won't matter to them in the same way that it matters to you. They'll just be like, okay. They will be okay with you being all of you because the right person doesn't want to change who you are. They make it easier for you to be fully yourself. Sign 2. You don't have to doubt that they like you. Someone who is right for you will make it very clear that they like you and leave very little room for ambiguity. This will look like scheduling things in, not just organizing some loose date possibly in the future or calling you up on a Friday night when they're tired or drunk or horny or lonely. It will look like actually scheduling something in the calendar. And also, they'll talk about the future. You can start creating ideas and plans together. It's a long way off, but the idea is there, the intention is there. And they'll show you off to their friends and family because who doesn't love showing off their wonderful partner? And when they are going to events and living their independent life or seeing friends, they'll reassure you if there is some ambiguity about them hanging out with someone of a sex that they're attracted to, they'll reassure you. They'll show you that that's okay. And they'll consistently demonstrate that they care about making sure you know where they are, what they're up to, and that they care about you enough to communicate that with you and to demonstrate their fidelity in all of their actions. And ultimately, this comes through consistency. You can know pretty early on whether someone's going to be flaky or inconsistent or not really care about you. And it is really only over time that you can see the patterns that emerge. You can get an idea at the start, but consistently can only happen over the months and years of a relationship. And when you don't have to doubt that they like you, you will feel nice and calm and secure because your nervous system will be much more regulated around them. They won't make you feel anxious anymore about the relationship. Sign 3. You have the same values, but they might be expressed differently. This is actually a really good thing. You don't want to get with a carbon copy of yourself. That would be weird, and if you're really honest about it, dating yourself would be kind of odd, and you wouldn't be able to see your own blind spots. When you date someone who shares the same values as you, but expresses them in a different way, then you're really onto a winner. This could look like sharing the value of being pragmatic, and yet one of you will compromise in some way, another one of you will compromise in another way. Or sharing the value of being organized and staying on top of things, but maybe one of you only looks a couple of weeks or a month ahead, and the other one wants those longer term visions and plans, and you sort of balance that out. And obviously, it will look like sharing values like honesty, trust, safety, communication, loyalty, respect, kindness, growth, all those sorts of things that innately build and secure the foundation of a relationship when two people are on the same page about how they want to look like. Having these shared values makes you fundamentally compatible, and it makes arguing a lot easier because you're coming from the same place and you share a similar desired outcome, and it makes planning for the future and setting goals the same because you're going in the same direction. And that brings us to sign number 4. You have compatible life goals and a willingness to compromise where necessary. You can have the best chemistry. You can feel so secure and safe around someone. You can communicate well and have similar values. But if at the end of the day, one of you wants to live in Australia and one of you wants to live in America, you're not going to be able to have a relationship. Or if one of you wants to have children and one of you doesn't, you're not going to have a relationship. There's no compromise that can make that work. You will know that you're with the right person when you have a similar direction that you want to go. You might not have all the bits ironed out, you need to actually live it, but you're aligned on some of the key things in life that are just fundamental for compatibility, like where you want to live, do you want to have kids, what does your lifestyle look like, how often should you see things like friends and family, how much sex should you have. Neither of you should feel like you have to abandon your dreams and your future just to make the relationship work. Compromise is obviously very important, but as long as you're on the same fundamental track when it comes to where you want your life to be, then you're going to be good. Sign 5. You can talk about anything. And I mean anything. A romantic relationship is supposed to be the closest relationship that you have in the entire world. And if you can't express everything that you need, show all of your emotions, your anger, your sadness, your vulnerability, and if you can't ask for help or share your worries, what are you doing there? You feel comfortable talking with your partner about everything: sex, money, that thing they did that annoyed you, that one weird relative. Anything and everything should be on the table and able to be discussed. Now, in order to facilitate that, you need to make sure that you're doing it appropriately, calmly, compassionately, listening to each other, and that you bring it up at the right time. One thing to avoid here is not being that person who, at 12 o'clock, when you've just sort of settled into bed, goes, "Babe, can we talk about this?" Because sometimes that's just not the right time. And as part of a healthy relationship, maybe you do compromise and do that. Or maybe you regulate yourself and you bring it up in the morning, but you make an agreement to do that together. In any case, the principle is there and you feel comfortable talking about everything and you're considerate of the needs of each other whilst you're doing that. Number 6, you fight right and repair well. Fighting right involves a few things. You need to share openly how you're feeling and what it is that's annoying you, and you need to do this at an appropriate time and in a clear way. And then you also have to listen to how the other person receives that and is feeling, and respond with the intention of reconciling. You're not always going to get that right. None of us do. And that's totally okay. Shouting matches do happen, but they should not be a frequent part of your relationship. In general, you should fight quickly and in a small way so that nothing builds up as a resentment over time. You just let it out like a steam valve, just shh, shh, every little time that something comes up. And also, some things are just not worth fighting about. Don't sweat the small stuff is the common relationship saying, and you'll find that balance too. And always, when you're in conflict with your partner, remember 2 key things. Number 1, you are on the same team here. You don't need to be right. What's important is that you come together and you reconcile and that you remember that you're on the same team and you're going to try and get this through together. And number 2 is that the real relationship happens after the conflict. So conflict is actually healthy for your relationship because it brings up those moments of truth, those moments of tension where you can decide how the relationship actually should look. And you get the opportunity actually to show up and express what's important to you. And your partner does the same. And then you reach a genuine compromise. And you can feel really stable in the relationship. because it's real once you've had that little fight about something that needs to happen. Sign 7. You have fun together. You should genuinely enjoy each other's company. Your partner's going to be your best friend. And I think one of the most beautiful things about a romantic relationship is that you can really let your inner child out. You can be silly, you can be funny, you can be smooshy wooshy, and all those wonderful, more childlike emotions and actions that you can't necessarily do in many other areas of your life. And a relationship can be a beautiful, safe place for you to do that. And you can also just have a lot of fun bantering with each other. And that's a great way of staying close, staying connected, possibly expressing a couple of disagreements in a healthily passive aggressive way. And in general, you can just make each other laugh and enjoy life together. Because life is way too short to be dull and not enjoy your relationship. Sign 8. You're still your own person. We've all had that friend who, the moment they get into a relationship, you never see them again. Or that friend who, when they get into a relationship and you invite them to something, their partner always comes and you never get to spend any one on one time with them anymore. These are codependent patterns. They're when we lose our sense of self in our relationship, often because we don't have a strong enough sense of self to start with. A healthy relationship with the right person gives you the space to cultivate a strong sense of self and to live that sense of self out, separate and independently from your partner, even though you are together. Commonly, relationships, people think that it's like I'm half a person, you're half a person, and together we make one. No. A relationship is one full person plus another full person that combine together to make more. And crucially here, it's important to recognize that your romantic relationship cannot meet every single one of your needs. That is an absurd standard to try and place on your partner. What a huge amount of pressure. And it is something that we're culturally conditioned to, but it's wrong. You're going to get many needs met in your relationship, but there will be needs that you have as an independent adult human being that cannot be met by your partner. And that's what the rest of your life is for. Your friends, your family, your work, your hobbies, all of that is where you get those other needs met. You can know that you're with the right person when they appreciate those boundaries that you have and your independence to go and do those things. They don't punish you for it or punish you for saying no or for scheduling things yourself. They want you to be your own independent person and they enjoy the fact that you explore and enjoy life, sometimes without them. And sign 9. The relationship feels equal. You are not meant to be the same person in a relationship, but you are meant to be equal. And being equal in a relationship means that you respect each other, you share similar values, you equally value each other's time and needs, and that you show up to look after each other in the same way. Now, this won't always look 50-50. Sometimes we need more support from our partners if we're unwell or we're going through a loss or a difficult time. And we can then repay that when our partner inevitably goes through their own version of that in the future. And fundamentally, here, it always balances out over the long run. And you'll notice this in your relationship if you look out for it, how things balance out. And that doesn't mean you should keep tabs. In fact, keeping tabs is a terrible idea. Do not do that. Just trust that the amount of effort that you give in the relationship will be reciprocated in due course when it is right. I know I've done 9, but I've got one more. So here's sign 10. The relationship makes you grow and you grow together. I used to think that a lot of growth happened outside of a relationship, that I needed to be single to get done the things I needed to get done. And there is some truth to that when it comes to healing your own wounds, possibly when you're focusing in on business. But really, a lot of growth actually happens in relationship with other people. And there is no relationship as exposing and therefore as helpful towards growth as a romantic relationship. They can see your blind spots, they see you on your worst days, and they care about you enough to share with you some of that feedback and help you work through it and grow as a person. And they're going to be your biggest cheerleader. They celebrate your growth. They want you to be the best version of you, and they want you to grow together in a similar direction and in your own individual ways as well. Your success doesn't make them feel small and insecure, it makes them feel proud. So there's 9 + 1 signs that you're with the right person. Did I miss any? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, then thank you very much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.